everybody, and welcome to episode 84 of the This Old Knit podcast. I am your host, Nina, otherwise known as Ine on Ravelry, Instagram, and Pinterest, and you can find show notes for this episode and all previous episodes on the corresponding numbered thread of the This Old Knit Ravelry group. So, hi guys! Welcome to all new viewers, and thank you for coming back to all returning viewers. I probably don't say that enough, but I appreciate the heck out of you guys, and I'm so glad that you come to share a little bit of yarny goodness with me each week. So, it's been 2 weeks, yay! I actually made my podcast schedule happen, and I'm really excited about it. So we have some really cool stuff coming up. And there's been a lot of chatter in the group, which I'm super excited about. And I have 2 winners to announce, so I wanted to do that right up front. I actually wrote stuff down so I would know which episode number it was and remember the winners for the Oracle giveaway. So if you recall, last episode I mentioned that Kristen donated 2 copies of either her Oracle shawl or her half moon oracle because I test knit for her for both of those shawls. I'm actually wearing the oracle shawl, and last podcast I was wearing the half moon oracle. So it's a full pie shawl, and I like to wear it like this when I'm just sitting around because it stays up very nicely. So it's almost like I'm wearing a little shrug. And Half Moon Oracle I've been wearing the heck out of at work because it matches all of my work clothes. It's sort of crazy how well it matches, and I don't know why I didn't do a gray, black, and red shawl before, because apparently those are the colors I wear most of the time. So yeah, without further ado, I drew 2 winners from the giveaway thread, and there were only 15 entries, so yeah, either I didn't announce it very well, or not very many people didn't have the pattern already. But the 2 winners are Marcia TF and Mary Jennifer 62. So I will just let Kristen know that you are the winners, and she will gift the pattern to you. So congratulations to both of you. And then the only other administrative thing I have 2, I lie, is the Advent Cal. So Anna Lena from the Anna Knitter podcast and I have teamed up to host an Advent Cal, and we have worked out the details. So it is going to run from November 25th to December 25th. So basically next week up to Christmas, and it will be FO thread in my group, chatter thread in her group, and I'll put all of these details in the FO thread header along with a link to the chatter thread in her group, so you guys can just click right over there and get started. And while you're at it, join her group because she's awesome, and her podcast is so sweet and wonderful, and you should totally check her out. So the rules around it are going to be really loosey-goosey as per the usual for my cows and for hers as well. She's not a stickler for rules. So just basically Christmas or Advent themed patterns, Christmassy type yarn, or other media, because we're opening it up. We're opening it up to all crafts. So if you want to sew something, if you want to knit something, crochet something, weave something, cross stitch something, if you can get it done in that time frame, it all counts. So please feel free to join in. It's just supposed to be for us to enjoy the holiday season and make things together. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, though, you can pop them in the episode thread for this episode, and I will try to get those answered and make sure that I include any clarifications in my header. I'm sorry. I have a little bit of a cold, and it has been hanging on for like 3 weeks. I was most of the way better. I actually was able to breathe through my nose. And then this week, it's like I caught a new thing. But everybody keeps coming into work sick with fevers, and it's driving me flippin' insane. Stop it. This is what we have time off for. Or a lot of us can work from home, especially my group. We can work from home. So there's absolutely no reason to come in and share your germs with everyone else. It is not a nice present, and nobody likes it. No one that I work with watches this podcast, so I don't know why I'm telling all of you this, but you feel me, right? Right? Don't come in sick. We don't want to be sick. I don't want to be sick for the holidays. Luckily, like I said, I have not had to be on antibiotics yet this season. Ugh, knock on wood. Everything seems to be viral. And I did get my flu shot, so hopefully that will cover the strains that are going around this year, because it's not always 100% foolproof. Anyway, I'm drinking out of my Canada mug. This was actually my first international mug that I got, and my lovely friend Jessica sent it to me. She's also the one who found the Niagara Falls mug for me. Hi, Jessica. And I'm just drinking coffee from Trader Joe's, nothing fancy. But I have been doing a ton of crafting over the last 2 weeks. I've done some sewing, I've done cross-stitching, I've done knitting. I'm trying to think if I have any finished objects to show. I don't think I do. Yeah, no, I don't think I do. But I have a lot of almost finished objects. So let's dive right in. So I've got bags all over the place in front of me on the floor, so I apologize. I am going to be kind of leaning over a lot because, yeah, this weekend is going to be really busy, so this was the only opportunity I had to podcast, so I just really quickly brought all of my stuff upstairs, and, you know, so it's a little disorganized. Anyway, my first object that I'm going to show is Joshua's Christmas sweater, and actually all of the knitting is done on this. So all I have to do is do the embellishments, and then it will be completely done. But I went to Joann's yesterday, and my intention was to buy a button for the neckline and a button for the little nose on the pocket. And guess what is the only thing I didn't buy at Joann's? Buttons. So I didn't get to finish it today. But I did weave in all the ends, so I just need to wash it, block it, and sew that stuff on. So here it is. It is the Teddy sweater by Terry Crews, and she is a Ninja 8 Tofu on Ravelry. This pattern was so easy to knit. The only thing that I would say is a problem with it is just the yardage that it states. I didn't use anywhere near as much yardage as it called for. I knit the 4T size for my little guy, for my son Joshua, and it is coming on spec for the measurements. I used a size 4 US needle, and I only used 1 full ball of West Yorkshire Spinners Air Valley DK in the green, and about 3/4 of the second ball, and then maybe 1/3 of the ball of cream, and it was also West Yorkshire Spinners Air Valley DK, which is a BFL nylon blend yarn. It's very nice. So here it is. And he doesn't have a face, like I said, because I want to block it first before I duplicate stitch the eyes on, and I wanted to sew the little nose button on before I did the eyes, so that I could place them on either side of it. I love it. It's so cute, and it looks so cute on him. He did say that the yarn was a little bit scratchy on the arms. He didn't say anything until I put his arms in. And I actually washed and blocked the main body of it, you know, before I put the sleeves on to make sure that my blocked gauge was right, because it looked a little bit small on him and it blocked out perfectly. So trust your gauge swatch. But I hadn't blocked it again with the arms. So it does soften up a lot when you wash it. This yarn, I think there's maybe a little bit of spinning oil left in it, but it washed up very nicely and it also bloomed a lot. So you can actually see the difference in, oh yeah, see that kind of little ridge right here above the stripes? That is the difference in blocking. I have some weird lighting going on too. It is very overcast today, and the unfortunate thing with this room is I don't have any lights that are very close to me. One is across the room in the corner, and then one is straight in front of me, but also across the room. So there's no like direct light except for the window, and it's overcast. So it has this fun pocket. The bear is a pocket, in case you didn't know that, because it kind of looks like it's just intarsia, but it's not. It is a little kangaroo pocket. And then it has cute little ears that I put on, and I will put on the little eyes and nose once I get the button. And I think I'm going to use just a little pearl button up here for the neckline to match the cream accent color. Dear God. Yeah. So it's super cute. I love it. I'm so happy that I made it, and Megwin really wants one now, so I think I might make one for her with worsted weight yarn. The biggest size in worsted weight, because she's very slender, so I really would just need to add length to it. And I think if I go up a yarn size, I can get away with knitting the size 6 and just knit it way longer. But yeah. So one kid's sweater is basically done, and it's only November. I'm pretty proud of myself. Okay. And moving right along to the second Christmas kid sweater. Excuse me. I am also knitting the So Faded Pint-sized by Andrea Mowry. I will not be able to tell you what designer is for every pattern, but these I happen to know. So this will be Megwin's Christmas sweater. I am knitting it out of Knit Picks Chroma in the Buttermint colorway. It is not a color that's available anymore, I don't think, but you could check because it is a very beautiful color if you're interested. So I've completed the body. And the ribbing is longer than I originally intended for it to be. And that is because I'm pretty sure Megwin had a growth spurt while I was knitting this. I've had this on the needles for a little while. Basically, as soon as this pattern came out, I ripped out the boneyard shawl I had on the needles for her, and I recast on that yarn into this pattern. But I tried it on her when I was getting ready to, I had started the ribbing based on the last time I tried it on her, and I got to like here, and I tried it on her, and when she lifted her arms up above her head, it actually like showed a little bit of her belly, and I want her to be able to wear this to school, and that's against the rules for school, so I added extra length. So it's just going to be an extra deep ribbing on the body, and I'm actually going to make that match on the sleeves. I'll just do extra deep ribbing on the cuff, and then I think it'll look very pulled together. So it is the same pattern as the So Faded Adult. Basically exactly, because, sorry I keep saying basically. Use other adjectives, Nina. Look, I've got a little tiny body with a big head. The adult one does not have any waist shaping, and the child one does not either. So it has garter just on the sleeve caps, and then the sleeves themselves are plain stockinette. It's going to have a V-neck, sort of a V-neck, probably more like a scoop neck, I guess. But it does have short rows on the back, so it scoops down in the front a little bit. I'm knitting this on a size 5 US needle, and I hope to pick up for the sleeves today and maybe get those knit over the next 2 weeks. So maybe next time that I see you all, I will have a completed sweater to show you. This one is in a size 8, and it looks really small, like it's actually smaller than Joshua's sweater. It is fingering weight, but it also is not blocked, and it can stretch a lot. Like, it can stretch a lot. But it actually fits Megwin really well unstretched when I tried it on her, so that gives you an idea of how slender she is. She's very kind of lanky, which is what I was like as a kid too, so not surprising. That body of the sweater basically used almost an entire ball of chroma, so this is what I have left from that ball. Unfortunately, my sleeves start on the peach stripe, so I'm not going to be able to use this for those. That's okay. I'm going to keep it for my blanket. Fear not, though. I have a whole other ball that I have not even tapped into yet, so I'm going to wind off what I need to get to that peach stripe and then get started on it. And I was thinking about whether I wanted to wind it into 2 cakes so that I could do the sleeves concurrently, but I don't think I'm going to do that, just because I won't know how much I need to finish the sleeve, and I don't want to waste a lot of the yarn if I didn't need to, and I don't want to cut it wrong and have extra ends that are unnecessary also, because if I can, I'd like to squeeze a hat out of this for Megwin because it's just such a pretty color, and I think she would really like it, and she needs more hats. So that is the So Faded Pint Size by Andrea Mowry. And it's in my Christmas bag, which I now feel totally fine with using. And I think this weekend or next weekend, I'm going to sew some more Christmas bags because I don't actually have very many for me. I sewed a bunch of them last year, and I used them all as gift bags for my mom and my sister for Christmas, and then as part of it, it was, oh, and keep the bag too. So I sewed probably like 5 or 6 of them, and I have 1. So I want to sew a couple more for me because I'm really having fun with Christmas stuff right now. I will try really hard to edit out the coughing, but it may not be possible for as much as I'm coughing. Okay. The next thing is also another Christmas or birthday gift for Megwin. I haven't decided which, but it's her Hermione socks. So they are knit out of Knit Picks Bungalow Gnome in the Hermione colorway, and then Knit Picks. Oh my god, Nina. They are knit out of No Makers Bungalow Gnome in the Hermione colorway, and then the contrasting color is No Makers Scruffy Gnome in the Strawberries colorway. And this is left over from Megwin's sweater from a couple years ago, her Little Honey pullover. And they go really nicely together, obviously, because Amanda dyed both of them, so it makes sense that her pinky colors would match up with each other. But I'm super happy that I was able to use up some scraps, because I had probably like half a ball maybe of this. So I hated to, have it go to waste. So I finished the first sock, but there's a story, because there's always a story, right? And then here's how far I am on the second sock. So I think I have maybe 5 more rows before I start the toe. So there you go. So the issue with these, same thing as with the sweater. I'm pretty sure that Megwin had a growth spurt, because these have been on the needles for a while as well. So I was modeling them off of the socks that I knit for her, that were supposed to be the colors of Fleur Delacour from Harry Potter. So they were like icy blue with white contrast heels and toes. And they were from My First Regia yarn. So I made this one match. And last time I had checked, those socks fit her fine. But they do not anymore. So they fit, but they're a little bit tight on the toe. Like she said, I don't feel like I can move my toe. So you know how you need just a tiny bit of wiggle room at the top of a mitten or at the top of a sock toe? It doesn't have that. So my plan is that I'm going to knit this one to the same point with the Hermione yarn. And then I'm going to rip this toe back. I'm going to put them both on the needles. And then I'm just going to knit the toes concurrently. And I'm going to add like 4 plain rounds of the strawberries before I do the toe. And that should give her plenty of room to grow and stretch her toes. And then they'll both match. And then I'll just have, this much yarn that, I'll just put it in my blanket. I'm not going to try to reuse it on these socks, because then I just have another end to weave in, and that annoys me because I don't want to. The ends are all woven in on this, by the way, so I don't know why I wove in the ends before I tried it on her. That was really dumb, but I was so excited about having it completely done and wanting to go up and surprise her with trying on a new sock, and this is what I get. So I should just not weave in ends like I usually do, and I wouldn't have had as much ripping back to do. A cautionary tale. So I'm going to have a lot of this Hermione yarn left, which I expected because I use Megwin's socks are knit on 56 stitches, and mine are 64 stitches, and I don't use a ton of yarn for my socks either, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to get a pair for me out of this as well. So I'll do the same thing, because here's how much I have left with the strawberries. This is the cake that keeps on giving, I swear. So I'm going to do the same thing for me, Hermione, with contrasting heels and toes. And depending on where I'm at with this ball, I may also do contrasting cuffs. I'm not 100% sure on that yet. And I have it in my bag from Annie Knitter. It's kind of Christmassy. It was supposed to be Outlander themed, but I think it's kind of Christmassy too. There you go. I'm going to move stuff, because otherwise I'm going to run out of space up there. Is that all I've knit on? No. Nina. Okay, I've knit on 2 other things. One of which is my Crazy Zauberball socks. So these are kind of like my Christmas rainbow socks. They're very Christmassy colors. It looks like a rainbow from back here, but it matches my Christmas bag. I do have another Christmas bag. This is the other one I sewed for myself, but it was when I was still doing drawstring bags, which I don't use this style a ton, simply because when I put a little notions pouch or whatever into it, I don't know, I just worry that they're going to come out of the top, so I prefer to sew zipper bags now, so I really haven't sewn any more drawstring bags. I think I have one more cut out to sew, so I'll probably sew that one together. And I do think that it's in Christmas fabric, so maybe I'll do that one. So. This was yarn that I got in a swap. It was a mug swap. And it's wound up in this sort of gobstopper way. This is how all Zauberball comes. But this one is, the German word for parrot is actually the name of it. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. But when I saw it, I thought antique Christmas is what it makes me think of. So like muted orangey reds, the more olivey green instead of like a bright green, and white, and there's a rose pink and blue. So again, to me it says Christmas. So here's what I've got so far. I'm just knitting it as a vanilla sock, obviously, because there's way too much going on for patterning to really show up. And I was knitting it actually during a like all staff meeting for my work. And so we kind of sit in the cafes and watch it. And I find that if I'm knitting, I can pay attention better. And like everyone else is just looking down at their phones. They're there, but they're not paying attention. And I'm not looking at my sock, and I'm totally paying attention. So there you go. But of course, everyone would probably say things to me about knitting whilst a meeting is going on. Isn't that weird? You all know what I'm talking about. So there you go. I'm having so much fun with this one because it's very much like, ooh, what color is going to come next? Kind of thing. So I love it. I think I'm going to use the leftovers of my Venus Flytrap by Volan Vine Yarns for the heel and toe, because it's more of, like I said, that olive green versus a true Christmas green. So I was going to use this, which is handmade in Casbah. I don't remember what the color is. I've had this in my stash for a really long time. I was pregnant with Megwin when I bought this yarn, and I've just never knitted into anything. I tried to knit it into socks. They're like, it's a sock pattern by Alana Dacos, and it has leaves on it. And I got down to the heel, and then I realized I could not pull them over my foot. So I ripped it out, and I just haven't found another home for it. I think it actually would be really pretty in a shawl, as part of a shawl, because it's got a lot of different tones of green. It's a very tonal yarn. It's a semi-solid, but this is when Handmade in Casbah was a smaller yardage per skein, so I think it's only like 370 something yards. So I'd have to be careful with what I used it in, because it doesn't have the standard yardage for sock yarn, which is more around 400 yards and up. So that's why I haven't put it in anything, to be perfectly honest. So that's that yarn. Crazy Zauberball and plain old vanilla socks. So I have if I finish all of the socks I have on the needles for me, that will be my box O socks for the year. So I need to complete these, my ones that are out of the classic Felici, and then my snowfall socks by Tabitha Gandy, who is Awesome Socks on Ravelry. And then I will be done with my box of socks. So hopefully I can do that. Fingers crossed. Excuse me. Last thing that I have really put any work into from a knitting perspective, and then I'll go on to other crafts, is my Gibbum. My glittery blanket of unicorns and magic. So I'm trying a different technique right now. My friend Andrea on her Cozy Memories blanket was not balling up her yarn. She was just knitting straight from the skein because mini skeins are really small. So what I do is I untwist it and kind of lay it flat, and then I'm just really carefully knitting from it. Like I just unravel a couple of rounds and knit those and then do a couple more, and then I just twist it back up when I'm going to put it away when I'm done. So hopefully that'll help, because I really hate pulling out my ball winder and all that just for teeny tiny minis. And yeah, I love winding yarn, but I do not love winding mini skeins for whatever reason. They're just not fun. Sorry, I'm hearing a police siren outside of our window, so I'm wondering what's going on. So since last time that I shared with you guys, I actually put a marker on it. It's just a little unicorn stitch marker that I got from Kristen. So I finished the strip of Enjoy the Silence, and then I added in more Yarn at Home Mom yarn in Paris Needs No Embellishment. And so I'm going to do some of that. It's got pink and gold tones to it. So yeah. This is it's the 10 stitch blanket by Frankie Brown for those just joining me. And what I'm trying to do is have each color kind of fade into the next color to make your eyes follow the spiral rather than looking at the blocks. I don't know how well I've done that, but I've tried. And I'm trying really hard to not have anything like super clash with each other that's touching, because that was my problem last time when I knit this blanket, is that I had like some cream in the very middle right next to a rainbow color, and then I had like under the tree from No Makers right next to the white, and it just, all my eyes could see was this big freaking bullseye in the middle of my blanket, and I did not like the look of it. That was not what I was going for, so I ripped it out and started over. That's okay. We learn from our mistakes. And on Instagram, I posted a little video that my husband took, actually. He helped me plot out my next several color progressions, so we laid them out on a pillow in the order that they were going to go in. And I've referenced that video several times. And it was kind of dark in the room. But it was cool because you can see the stellina in the yarns. They sparkle a lot when it's very weird light. And you can't really see the stellina when I show you in the blanket, but I am using all stellina yarns for this blanket. And just to mention, I've mentioned it before, but this is my bag from Pandia's Jewels, who's Nimruz on Instagram. And it is rainbow llamacorns. And I love it. It makes me happy every time I see it. And this sits next to my bed on my little table. And every night I knit just a little bit on the blanket. And that's kind of my relaxing before I go to sleep. Okay, and that is everything that I have been knitting on. I've been really focusing on trying to get the kids' sweaters done. I'm not letting myself cast on anything new until I finish their sweaters. So I'm just working on the sock when I get sick of working on them, or I'm doing cross stitch. Because I actually have a place on my thumb that is numb. I have a numb thumb. And it's kind of dumb. I think it's from knitting. Good grief, can I stop rhyming? I think it's from aluminum. It's where I push with my needle into my finger, because I knit continental, so I'm tensioning my needle with that thumb. So I'm probably just pushing too hard. It's the long and short of it. See, now my coffee is going to get really warm because it's getting low. I was going to wear my Christmas shirt this week, and I dug everywhere in the laundry and I cannot find it. Megwin has started doing the laundry as her cleanup job, which, while it is not really helping my husband at all, he prefers if she does a cleanup job in her room every day. It has helped me so much because she does like a load of laundry every day and she has fun with it. She's actually enjoying doing the laundry. I do not enjoy doing the laundry at all. But she's not folding or putting away any of the laundry. So it's all sitting downstairs in the basement in various tubs. And since I'm not doing the laundry, I don't know what is in each tub. I kind of knew before because I could remember, oh, okay, I remember throwing that over into this tub or that tub. And I kind of knew where to look. I have no idea now. Everything is chaos. So today I need to spend some time sorting and putting things away, but I am not going to complain at all because I usually spend Saturday and Sunday all day, both days, doing laundry to try and get caught up, and I cannot keep up with 4 people's worth of laundry, especially the kids. My husband and I don't actually produce that much laundry. I wear the same pajamas for several days in a row before I put them in the laundry, because you're just wearing them to bed, and so there's no reason not to just put them back on, I think. So I don't produce a ton of laundry, and then clothing for work. Yeah, I just don't make a lot of laundry, but the kids wear something different every day. Sometimes they change their clothes several times in one day, and they make a lot of towels. We wash towels so much because we use them to clean up spills. They don't hang them up after their baths, so then they're just sitting in a wet little heap, so I have to put them in the laundry. So we just go through a lot of towels. It's probably more information that you wanted to know about my family. So the last 2 things that I've worked on are not knitting related at all. One of them is sewing. And like I said, I almost had an FO for you guys. I did work on it last night, but I worked on it while my husband was doing video time with Megwin. So I read to her, and then my husband comes up and watches cooking videos with her off of YouTube. There's this one particular channel, Chef John, and she really loves Chef John. He has a really fun personality, and he describes things in a really engaging way, and so they watch Chef John cooking videos together, and then he will watch one with her and he turns it off and they cuddle for about 10 minutes and she falls asleep. So while that was happening, I was working on the sleeves of this dress, and I had tension issues with my bobbin. I don't know how it got off, but I was trying to top stitch and it was a hot mess. So I had to fix it, and by the time I did, it was late, and so I didn't do the hem. So that's all I have left to do is the hem on the skirt. Thank goodness this is navy blue thread, and it's really dark, so nobody else is going to be able to see this on the outside. But if you look on the inside, like, look at all that crap. And I didn't realize it until I was done. And, like, it wasn't even up on the fabric. It's chaos. So I went back and redid the top stitching and actually caught the cuff after I fixed the tension issues. But by the time I had got that working, I wanted to go and hang out with my husband, so I just called it and left it alone. But this is the Coco dress by Tilly and the Buttons. I'm in love with this pattern. It fits so nicely. I get lots of compliments about my sushi dress. People love it, and they're amazed that I sewed it when I tell them. This fabric, even though it's from the same company, is a lot more stretchy and has less structure than the sushi dress. I think that's because the sushis actually have kind of puff paint as part of their design. So they are much stiffer. They don't stretch as much. So the jersey that it's on also doesn't stretch. But since this one is printed, I think it's on maybe a little bit less heavy of a cotton, which is fine. But I really effed up the cutting of this, to be perfectly honest. I used my rotary cutter to cut it out, and it was sliding everywhere. When I folded it in half, I kept getting wrinkles on the bottom portion of the jersey, and so it was not good. So I actually cut out one piece, and I had to go back afterwards and iron it while it was still stuck to the Swedish tracing paper pattern piece to straighten it out, and I had to cut off like almost a ½ inch of additional skirt because of all of those wrinkles. So it's good that I did, but it was frustrating me. And especially for the hem, I did not cut straight at all. So I'm gonna have to really try to hide that with the seams. So if you look at that, if you see in the middle how it scoops, it's got like a big old chunk out of it. Maybe if I hold it that way. Not straight. What the hell were you doing, Nina? There's weird little hoobity-doos. I don't think I'm going to use my rotary cutter again for jersey. I'm going to use my scissors. I know that you can distort the fabric a little bit with that, but I feel like I had more precision on the cutting. I feel like I'm more in control with my scissors than I do with the rotary cutter. I use my rotary cutter for cutting out bags, but that's just a rectangle, and I can hide all manner of sins in the seams. With garments, not so much. So I just don't want to do that again. But otherwise, it turned out great. It fits like a dream. I would say it actually fits a little bit better than the sushi dress. I think because of that little bit of softness, it's a little more form-fitting than the sushi dress. So, yeah. I will maybe wear it next time so you guys can see it on. But look at the narwhals. They're so cute. They have a rainbow tusk. There's little starfish and bubbles and hearts. And these are like little clamshells. So there's purple and pink and dark pink hearts and clamshells. And from far away, I think it looks like paisley, almost, if you're familiar with what paisley fabric looks like. And then when you get closer up, you're like, oh, but it's narwhals. So I like that it's a little bit, from far away, it doesn't look like narwhals, but it is. So I will probably finish that up today because I didn't have much to do. I just have to do the hem. This is not a lot of sewing. And the last thing that I worked on this week is my Christmas cross stitch by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I started this last year, but I put it away after the holidays because I just didn't feel like working on a Christmas picture during the year. I don't know why. I just don't. It's not my thing. So it has blocks. It was released in clue form last year at Christmas time. It matches their Halloween one that spells out the letters of Halloween across the 3 blocks by, I think it's 3 by 3. And so this one spells out Christmas. Same layout. So here's what I've got so far. It has a border all around that looks very Nordic. It's got like the Nordic deer and the Nordic snowflakes that I think kind of look like poinsettias. And then it has little snowmen and stuff. And it's in a hand-dyed thread that actually is not white. It's very slight rainbow colors and is not going to get picked up at all on the camera. But it's very pale pink yellow and blue. The color is actually called Snowflake. It's a Weeks Dye Works color, which is a hand-dyed thread. So, of course, I started with the hot chocolate square because this time of year is hot chocolate season for me, and I love hot chocolate with marshmallows. I usually make my own homemade peppermint flavored marshmallows. I haven't done that yet, but I'm going to. I'm actually going to do Vlogmas this year, like I said, and for one of my Vlogmas episodes, I will actually make marshmallows. I already have that planned because they are super fun and they are delicious, and you all should make homemade marshmallows too if you love marshmallows, because homemade marshmallows are amazing and they're a million times better than the store-bought ones. Yeah, you must experience them. And then I have my little needle minder on there. It's a peppermint mocha. And little Jack, who is like a candy bucket pumpkin from Halloween, has candy canes inside of him. Super cute. So I haven't got a ton done on it, but it's very fun to work on. I enjoy just filling in little sections. I started coming over to here. The first one, the C is for carolers. So it's got two little girls going caroling. And then the H is for hot cocoa. So obviously each of the squares represents the letter. The R is for reindeer, so reindeer or Rudolph. So it has like a sleigh, and you can see Rudolph on it. And I don't remember what all the other letters are, but it's really fun. So I'm just starting to fill in the border above the carolers because I use that to then count off of to make sure that I'm going the right way. And I also filled in part of this will be the boxes. You can see it goes up and around this square. So the boxes also help me count. So I did a little bit of down here. This is the Christmas tree. There's a little Christmas tree and people are decorating it. Excuse me. So it's fun. And the fabric that it's on is Picture This Plus. I'm working it on, it's 32 count linen, which is the equivalent of 16 count Aida. So I'm only using 2 strands on it because that's a very small stitches per inch. And I actually have to do this without my glasses on because I am nearsighted, so I don't need my glasses to see things close up. I need them for far away. So when I'm working on it, I have to take my glasses off and I have to listen to audio podcasts or something that I don't really need to look at, like Gilmore Girls, because I can't focus on my computer screen way far away and have my glasses off to do cross stitch. It's a thing, guys. It's a whole thing. It's a problem. So I use my tote bag from No Makers for holding all my cross stitch stuff, and Amanda gifted this to me in one of my orders. So thank you, Amanda. I do use it all the time. And since I haven't shown this in a while, I use the Knitter's Pride chart keeper for my cross stitch charts, and I love it. It is so, so nice. So it's like a jacquard fabric. It's really pretty. And this snap actually comes off, and this strap snaps to the other side. You strap this snap onto this position when it's flipped over, and then it's like an easel, so it sits up on my desk. I'm not going to show you the inside because I actually have just the chart. I don't have a facing page to cover it up, and I don't want to give away the chart. But it has a pocket inside that will hold additional pattern pages, and then it has a flat surface with magnets that will hold your chart. There's like a line one to keep track of where you are. I don't really use that when I'm doing cross stitch because I tend to just kind of go all over the place. Honestly, I work one color everywhere that's close to that area. I try to work the color, especially for Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, because they tend to do a lot of little tiny areas of a color where you'll have like 3 or 4 stitches of it and then 3 or 4 stitches over here. I don't want to cut my thread and work 3 or 4 stitches and then switch colors. I'm not doing that noise. Your mileage may vary. So that's basically all that I've been working on. Basically, again. That is all I've been working on. But I've wanted to work on other things. I'm just not letting myself until I complete Christmas presents. Yeah. It's going to be soon, guys. It's going to be soon. But when I do complete Christmas presents, I'm going to cast on all of the things for our Advent Cal, and it's going to be amazing and fun. Woo! So I do have some acquisitions this week to share with you. One of them is No Makers in her Party Gnome base. So they are mostly Christmas things. Yeah, they're Christmas things that I've gotten for this week. So this is from her Christmas yarn collection. It's called Present Locator, and it's supposed to be representative of a Christmas tree with lights on it. Her Party Gnome base is a multicolored tweedy neps. And I want to use this with the 2 other Party Gnome skeins I have for a 3 colors of cashmere shawl, which I have the pattern for. And I had been waiting for her to release another Party Gnome color because I got Fireworks and Cupcake last year, but I didn't have a 3rd color, and I definitely wanted to do the 3 colors of cashmere shawl with it. So when she said she was doing Present Locator, I was like, I have to have it so that I can do that shawl. It'll be perfect because Fireworks is like a really dark charcoal gray. Cupcake is a cream with the multicolored neps, and then this one is an olive green with the multicolored neps. So you can see there's magenta and blue and yellow neps all throughout it. I think that'll make a really pretty, very soft shawl, and it'll go with a lot of stuff because it'll be really neutrally. So I love it. So Present Locator by No Makers on the Party Gnome base. She does not dye on this base very often, but when she does, you should scoop it up because it's really soft and squishy and fun. The second skein is by Francophie Knits. I hadn't bought anything from Devon in a while. Not because I don't love her yarns, but just because I keep blowing my yarn budget every month before she does her updates. But she was doing all these beautiful Christmas colors, and I really, really needed to have at least one of her amazing speckly skeins. So I saved my ducats to get this skein, and it is Christmas Lights. So it's on a cream color base, but it's super duper speckalicious. So you can see it's got speckles of blue, green, red, and yellow, like Christmas lights. It's amazing, Devon. This is so beautiful. And she has actually offered to donate a prize to a future knit along. So be on the lookout because you all should try her yarn. It's amazing. I used it in my snowmelt shawl. I used the macaron colorway, and it was a lot of like very muted pastels, and I love it. I have a little bit left over, and I swapped some, and I think I maybe have enough to do a pair of socks for Megwin. I probably do. She doesn't, like I said, it doesn't take a lot of yardage for her. So this is on her Chalcette 2 base, which is an 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon. It's 437 yards, so this is going to be Christmas socks for moi. I will probably use that green that I was showing as a contrast heel and toe for it. And I'm going to do that for the 12 socks of Christmas. That's probably what's going to happen for the rest of December is socks and potentially a shawl. admittance. Because Ellie's Julefeld, I can't pronounce Norwegian, pattern is going to be coming out. It's a mystery knit-along of colorwork mittens leading up to Christmas. So I think the first clue comes out today or tomorrow, and then we get a clue a week up through Christmas. So I'm definitely going to be knitting those, and I already have my yarn picked out that I'm going to do, but I don't have it with me. I have a rustic lollipop cabin yarn that's hiking at Mount Pilchuck, and then I'm going to pair it with 2 colors of Knit Picks palette. It is like pale icy blue, like a tan kind of color, and sage green. And then the palette I'm going to use is going to be white, and I'll bring in the sage green, but a little bit darker, because it takes 3 colors. One is just on the cuff, and then one carries up into the hand. So I think I'm going to do the sage green with the hiking at Mount Pilchuck for the contrast. And then the contrast color on the cuff actually is the main color on the hand, which is what I want. I want that hiking at Mount Pilchuck to be my main color, and I'll do white as my contrasting color on the hand, and then it'll be nice and wintry and beautiful and Christmassy. So, there you go. Those are my 2 Yarny acquisitions. Nope, one more. I forgot about this one because my friend Andrea ordered it. So I had been watching the Woolly Thistle for them to get in the West Yorkshire Spinners Christmas color for this year. And they weren't getting it, and then she was affected by that power outage in New England. So her shop wasn't updated for a while, and then Andrea was ordering, actually from West Yorkshire Spinners. She had a bunch of other stuff she was ordering too, and she ordered me a ball of it. So I paid her back in unicorn mug, which is the best kind of currency, right? That is totally worth a Christmas skein of yarn. So it is the, shoot, what is it called? Because they don't put their colorways on their skein. I believe it's like candy cane. Here, I could, hang on. The pattern says candy cane socks. Yes, it is candy cane. And then it had choices of either chocolate lime as the contrast or cayenne pepper as the contrast. And I believe that she got the lime green or maybe the red, but she said she'll wind off a mini for me for my contrast because you don't use very much of those, and the yardage is crazy on these balls. So we're going to share the contrast color. But here it is. Oh my gosh, guys. It's so cute. It's like bright candy-like red and green, just like a candy cane and cream. So this is what it's going to knit up like, and I am really excited to knit these. I have the other color of West Yorkshire Spinners Christmas yarn. It's Hollyberry. I believe it was released last year. There was some debate about this because I was talking to Andrea about it, and I thought it was last year, but she might be right because she said, I think it was 2 Christmases ago. And she might be right because now I'm picturing the Christmas sweater that Joshua was wearing, and it was his Anders sweater, and that hasn't fit him for a while. So last year was the year that they got the tent and all of the camping stuff. And the year before was the year that I knit the other West Yorkshire Spinners Christmas socks. But they do still have it, so you can get both. And it's more of like a Fair Isle with a darker red. I don't remember what the color is for the contrasting color, but the main color is called Hollyberry. And both are on their website, and they're also available now at Woolly Thistle. But I didn't need to get it because Andrea is a good friend and thought of me. So thank you, Andrea. And there you go. Okay. That is the last yarny acquisition that I have to share with you this week. But I do have a cross stitch acquisition as well. And then I have fabric that I'll show. So Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery released this year's Christmas sampler. I think it's like the Secret Sleigh Society. It's supposed to match their Black Hat Society pattern that they did for Halloween, which was really cute. And I thought about getting it, but I haven't done it yet. But it's still available. It's shaped like it ends up being shaped like a witch's hat, and there's 3 cute little girl witches with their cauldrons, and there's like Black Cat, and it has the really pretty stylized, it's not really a border because it's making up the hat, but they always do something like my other picture where it's a design around the edge, so that makes up the hat, and it's really cute. So I'm not going to get the Christmas one because I already have like 3 Christmas things from Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery that I have not stitched up yet. So I don't need to get another one when I'm ready if I like it, because it's a mystery as well, so it's getting released in clues. If I like the design, I can always buy it and make it myself later. But they released their needle minders along with it, and the needle minder is freaking adorable, and I had to get it. And they also released a thread minder, and I don't have a thread minder. But this one I really liked, and I think while it is Christmas, I think it's more of a winter theme, so it will probably work for most of the winter, and it has a lot of positions around it, so I think it would work for lots of different pictures that might have tons of threads. So I went ahead and got it. So here's the needle minder. They source their needle minders through the company called A Needle Runs Through It. I'm going to take it out of the bag because there's a lot of glare. They're really nice. The one that I showed on my picture is from A Needle Runs Through It as well, and I bought it through Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. If you're interested in any of the needle minders that I've shown in the past, usually once or twice a year they do a needle minder sale where they have pre-orders for all of the needle minders they've previously released, so you can order ones if you missed them when they actually put them out, because they usually put them out to match with their stitch alongs. So yeah, something to think about if you're interested. So this one, isn't it so cute? It has a little snowman, and these 2 characters, like I said, are Sugarloaf, because he's a Sugarloaf pumpkin, and Jack, because he's a jack-o'-lantern. And what does he got in his little... Okay, he has a snowflake in his little bucket. It's really hard to see because it's not focusing. But this up on the top is a snowflake. He's wearing earmuffs. They're wearing hats. And they're just so sweet. I love their little faces. This is an illustration that the 2 ladies that run Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery did, and then they have A Needle Runs Through It laser cut them for them. So they're laser cut wood, and they have a really strong magnet, so they stay on. I've bought needle minders from other places, and these stay on way better. I'm making really weird faces. This is going to be so funny. Somebody is going to do a screenshot of me on Instagram watching my podcast, and it's going to be some weird face. The other one is also laser cut wood. Like I said, it's really thick. See how thick it is? But it's a snowflake. So you can put the thread on each of these little positions. But if you had more, you could actually put them on the different snowflake cuts. So I really liked it. It's way bigger than I thought it was going to be. Like, it's the size of my hand. It's giant. But I really love it. So it's the same motif. Oh, and you can see the snowflake a little bit better in his bucket. So Sugarloaf and Jack, so it matches my needle minder. And like I said, I think it's more of a winter theme than a specifically Christmassy theme. So I'll be able to use it all year long because I love winter. I love winter a lot. And I love snow. So I'll be able to use that. I'm going to put that guy away so it stays safe. And their stuff is always packaged really nicely, so it comes in, you know, in a bag, and then each of them is in a little bag, so they're very well protected. And it was in a puppy mailer, too. Okay, and then I got a bunch of crafting stuff for the kids and I to do this weekend. So we're going to do paper snowflakes. We're going to make hand turkeys. So like where they put their hand down and trace around it. You can see my double jointedness. I can bend my fingers ridiculously far back. And that's actually comfortable for me. My husband says I'm a freak. Anyway, you put your hand flat and you trace around it, and then this becomes the head of the turkey, this is the body, and these are the feathers, and then you draw little feet on it. So we're gonna make hand turkeys. I got googly eyes, construction paper, we're gonna put gauge paper. It's like for painting, but I figured I'd have the kids paint a background and then we'll glue the turkeys on there. And then I also got like this really cool kit, which I should have brought up to show you, but it has chenille pipe cleaners, it's got pom-poms, it has felt pieces to cut out, and it has googly eyes. And then I got some quick dry craft glue, so we're probably going to make just all kinds of different stuff. I was thinking I might make my Christmas cards today and have the kids help by like pasting some stuff on. It should be a lot of fun. Winter craft. But at the same time that I was there, I wanted to also sew some pajamas for the kids for Christmas Eve. So they'd have new pajamas for Christmas, and that'll be part of my Christmas gifts for them. And then they can wear them and be cute for pictures. Of course, they'll have their outfits for Christmas Day also, but we usually try to Google chat with the California family, and they get together on Christmas Eve. So they go to midnight mass, and then they all get together and have dinner and open gifts at my husband's grandparents' house. So we try to do Google chat with them there so that they can see all the relatives. So they'll probably be in their Christmas jammies at that point because it's 3 hours behind us in California. So, patterns that I got. I got this for Megwin. It's the Adele dress. It's not jammies. This is a knit dress by Violet Field Threads. And it's a basic knit dress, but then it has these really cute ruffles on the back. They remind me of an old-fashioned bustle. But I thought this would be a good way to use up my leftovers from my Coco dress, because I end up with a lot of piece that I can't use because I have to cut on the fold. So I thought I could use that to cut the ruffles, and then I should have enough left to do the main body of the dress for Megwin. So I think I might make her one out of the leftovers of that cream color that I have with the little trees, the little doodled Christmas trees on it, and that would be really, really cute for her Christmas Eve dress, or maybe she can wear it when we go do gingerbread houses, because we always make gingerbread houses with her best friend for her birthday. So that's one thing. And then I got pajama patterns, because they had the See and Sew patterns on sale for $2 at Joann's, so I got a couple. So this one is classic PJs, button-up shirt, and then pants, or you have a shorts and short sleeve shirt option. This would work for Megwin or for Joshua, but I'm definitely going to make these for Joshua for his Christmas jammies. And then for Megwin, she loves to wear nightgowns. So I got this one because it has a long nightgown, and I could do it with or without the ruffles. And then it's also got ruffled PJ top. Obviously, the pants would work from either pattern, but these are meant to be, I think, cotton. You can make them in cotton or in flannel. Yeah, flannel or broadcloth or eyelet. So, I also got fabric to go with them. Oh, and I got this one too. again, PJ bottoms, but it has a really nice raglan shirt, which Joshua loves to wear that style of shirt. So I thought that would be a good pattern to have for him. I haven't done any sewing for him yet, actually. Which Megwin reminds me of all the time. Because she's awesome like that. So this is going to be for Megwin because she loves penguins. So it's flannel. Again, I got it at Joann's. So it's little penguins doing various different things. Ice skating and sledding and just sitting there looking quizzically at the snow and the trees. So it's super cute. And they're kind of going all different directions. So I don't think it'll matter what direction that I put it in, which is good. I don't have to worry about that as much for piece placement. So I got 3.5 yards of that because that nightgown is super long and ruffly. And then for Joshua, I got this one. So it's more of an aqua blue with different animals and snowmen on it. And he loves it. He said, "Mommy, go make my animal jammies." Or sorry, he said PJs. "Go make my animal PJs." Like I was just going to whip them up last night. I haven't washed either of these yet, so I can't start sewing them even if I wanted to. And I want to finish my narwhal dress first. But I will definitely make sure that I make both of those before Christmas. And I think I'm going to try to make my sushi bottoms for Christmas PJs too. And then if I have time, I will also make my husband a pair of Christmas PJ pants. There was a really cool green, like a spearmint green plaid, and it just had kind of like little snowflakes sprinkled on it. I really like that. I think he would like that too. So I might go back and get that for him. But I didn't have the pattern with me. I'm actually going to use the one that I have for me and just make the extra large size because if you recall, when I made my llama pajamas, I made them in the large and they actually fit him, other than being a little bit tight in the butt, in the thigh area. Otherwise, they fit him. They went on and they were fine. He was just like, they're a little snug. But I think if I make the extra large, they will fit him perfectly with a little bit of length. So I needed to have that pattern with me to get the yardage that I would need. It's probably going to be like 4 yards because my husband's really tall. And then I got some muslin for him because he's going to make some bandanas. Yeah, because he keeps them in his dad bag for various different things. They're good for wiping children's faces, cleaning up spills, just generally having a cloth when you're out and about. I actually got Felici too, and I forgot to mention that. So let me show that really quickly. And then that truly is everything, I promise. So Knit Picks really stepped up their game this year for their Christmas sale. I actually have another order coming for me. Yeah, they have a lot of good stuff. But they're doing these like specials on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and they're not available every day. So there was something that they had as a special on Friday, and I'd already placed this order, so I made another order, but that's fine. So they're colors of Felici this time. I got most of them, but I didn't get all of them because there were a couple that are very similar to colors that I already have, so I didn't feel like I needed to buy them. So this one is Hawaiian shirt. And then this one is treehouse. So I have 2 balls of all of these, obviously, so I can make socks. And I thought those would be nice colors for my husband, probably. And then I got hopscotch and goth kitty. They're fun. Yes. Always with the Felici. I love Felici. It's fun. I'm gonna knit with all the Felici. Uh, so that is pretty much everything I had to share. I did do a review of my skein tracker, my ins and outs for this year, and it's not really scientific. Basically, if I use part of a skein, I count it as a skein out, and whatever skeins I bring in are counted as a skein in, and I also count out if I use them for prizes, and 90% of my prizes actually come from my own stash, or I buy patterns for you guys. So I have got a few donations, but for the most part, things are coming from my own stash. So I am at, I think, 77 skeins in for this year and about 111 out. So definitely still a negative count. And basically, if I'm at 0 or negative, I'm happy. Ideally, I'd like to be at just neutral stash, where I'm just turning over my stash every so often. I was about to say de vez en cuando. Whenever I think of the phrase every so often, I actually think in my brain de vez en cuando. I don't know why. That Spanish just made sense to me, so it has become what I think in my brain. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy about that. And I'm thinking for next year, I always try to think of some weird challenge for myself. I don't know why I do that, but it's just fun. I'm pondering doing either I have to use a pattern from stash or a yarn from stash as part of a project. So like if I wanted to cast on a new pattern, I would need to use stash yarn, and if I wanted to use new yarn, I would need to use a stash pattern. So that might be fun to make me like consider options in my stash, or to use patterns or books that I've already purchased, because I have so many. I have a crap ton, guys, and I want to knit them all. I just forget about them when I see the new shiny. So that'll still let me buy new shiny. I just would need to use a pattern that I have or a stash yarn that I have. And it wouldn't even have to be all stash yarn, just like if I mixed it, which I've been doing a lot with my shawls, where I'll have like 1 or 2 new colors, and then I pull in a skein that I've had from my stash. So like the 3 colors of cashmere would be a perfect example. If I wanted to cast that on now, it would be a stash pattern, because I've had that for like a year. And then it would be 2 stash yarns and 1 new yarn. So I think that might be fun. Like, these aren't official challenges, and there's nothing wrong with me not doing it, but I think it's kind of fun to just change my mindset and make me consider stuff. So that's kind of what I'm noodling around. And then the last thing I wanted to mention before I go is that a lot of people have talked about doing an adult garment cal. I mentioned it last time, and I think we've settled on that will start in January, but whips will be allowed. So it'll start in January and run through the end of March. So it'll end April 1st. So that will be our cal in the new year. And if you want to, you can cast on a sweater during December. Like if you finish all your Christmas knitting and you want to do something just for you, go for it. Just don't finish it until January. And if you are a yarn dyer or a bag maker or a stitch marker maker or what have you, and you are interested in donating a prize, I would love to have your prizes. That would be awesome and so generous of you. So please contact me if you are interested. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep making bags and pulling things out of my stash to use for prizes. That's fine too. I don't mind at all. It helps me rotate things in my stash, and it gets me sewing, which is always fun. So I'm going to leave you guys there. For my lovely American friends, have a wonderful Thanksgiving next week, and I hope you get to spend time with friends and family. and eat some really delicious food, because that's the fun part about Thanksgiving. And I will see you guys the first week of December. So until then, happy knitting and spend some time enjoying the things that you love. And take care. All right, bye-bye.